so happy you're here. Come in. Welcome. Hey friends, welcome back to the So in Love podcast. I am your host, Jemiah, and all of God's children are welcome here. Y'all, I'm so excited to be back with a new episode. How have y'all been? It's been 2 weeks since we last touched base, since we last had a little powwow, and I hope y'all have been well in our time apart. If you're new to the So in Love podcast, I want to officially welcome you into our community. We will always have space for you here. We've got plenty of room on the couch. Come on, have a seat, get cozy. We like to think of this time together as a restful reset. Think about it as like a Sabbath wind down. We've got our candles lit. I personally like to partake in a cup of tea. You can partake in any drink you desire, but this is kind of like my jam. Last week we talked a lot. Well, last time we talked, we spoke about like me being in like this transitional phase and how my schedule had shifted and life was getting challenging and I had so many different like competing priorities, right? And so that's kind of where we left off at. But I come back with like fresh perspective. And I kind of want to share that with y'all. But before we get into all the things, I got to tell y'all what I've been up to. So y'all know I'm building out the So in Love brand. Y'all know that I am a certified life coach. And y'all know that I truly believe in taking care of myself, taking care of my temple, taking care of the gift that God has given me, which is like life, right? And I love inspiring y'all to do the same. And so this podcast is kind of an extension of that, encouraging you all to like take rest, to slow down, to be intentional about your life and all parts of it. And so with all that in mind, I have been working on like a couple of things that I believe will support you all on the journey to living a restful life without compromising on your purpose. So I am very excited about the website because it's coming together really nicely. I did some like final edits, like some correspondence with the team I hired regarding some of the final edits I wanted to put in place before we, get through the design process and then release it to you all. So that's been going on. I have some courses that will be a part of the So in Love brand that I'll be launching. So I've been working really diligently on getting that stuff squared away. When I tell y'all are going to love this next chapter we're walking into. And when I tell you I'm so happy you're here and along for the ride. But as I was saying, for those who are new, we will always have space for you here right on the couch. I want you to extend your stay if you feel so inclined by clicking on that subscribe button. We consider that you checking in with us and making it like official. And the other part of that is turning on your notifications. We call that upgrading your accommodations. So if you want to upgrade your accommodation, please do turn your notifications on. We'll slide by your inbox and you'll get a personal invitation to watch the show when new episodes are released. And I really encourage that because as I was stating, I prefer to launch new episodes every Saturday at 11. But because we're in this developmental phase of doing all the things, I haven't been able to be as consistent with that time right now in this season. And so if you turn your notifications on, that means you can keep up, right? Even when things are changing, you'll still be receiving the information and knowing when to come and hang out with us. But y'all, let me tell you. So I think, adjusted pretty decently to my work schedule. But I did something really cool recently. Two of my friends shared the month of April for their birthday. And I kind of did like a surprise birthday party. if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some of the behind the scenes of me prepping for the party, and then you'll see us like enjoying the experience. And it was, to me, the perfect way to Sabbath, because you have that community, you have that fellowship, you have the good food, and you just have the vibes, right? And so the story behind it is we normally meet on Saturdays for our book club, right? So the intention was to tell them that we were meeting for book club and that we would probably have like a little cake or something in celebration of their birthdays, but that, it's not a big deal. Just pull up and we'll just do like a girly check-in, how we like to do as women. And so I texted them in the group chat like, hey, y'all, just come over. Now, it started with me saying, hey, I'm going to just go grab a cake, right? Because the birthday and cake, they just go together, right? So that was what it started with. But then I was like, well, if we're going to get a cake, we got to get a birthday banner, right? So then we get the birthday banner, and then it's like, but wait, what's a birthday banner without balloons, right? Like, surely we need balloons. And then, if we're going to do balloons, then maybe we should also do like a mocktail bar, customize some signs, put together some activities, bake a cake from scratch, because, if we're going to do it, we're going to make it with love, right? Because we got to do it all in love. I mean, right? So all of these things are going on. Meanwhile, I'm telling my husband, like, babe, I'm tired, because I do have that 3 a.m. work schedule. And I did have, this whole thing with my daughter, which was we just frame it as senior year, because senior year, you have all the events, right? You've got all the things that go with senior year. So she had grad bash and prom, which was a huge milestone, which we both enjoyed, my husband and I, seeing her all dressed up and heading out, and she had the most beautiful time. So we had prom and then grad bash back to back, which means I'm in full mommy mode. If you know, you know. I take my mommy duties seriously. So we did that, and you would think I would rest, is what I'm getting at. But then I have this bright idea to throw this party, which I frame as a birthday sprinkle, because it wasn't really like a party, but it was definitely giving party with the blown up balloons, the custom signs, the games, the crafts, the spread of food, like, y'all. And it got me to thinking about like why I don't take rest, right? A lot of times people say, oh, well, I'm tired. I'm gonna get some rest. But me, I say, I'm tired. Let me do this one more thing. And it has become apparent to me that I love functioning in the space of Martha, right? The doer, like doing stuff. And when I say Martha, y'all, I'm talking about the biblical story. Mary, Martha, the sisters. Jesus goes over their house and Mary sits at his feet. Martha, she's busy doing all the things. And so I realized that I'm very much wired like Martha for the most part. I have to be very intentional about taking rest. And I didn't realize how this began, but we've actually been programmed not to take rest. Like the way the societal structure is built, it is built to keep us in that performative state, in a state of constantly doing. And I don't love that for me, right? Because over the past just about 2 years, I have been very intentional about not overdoing it, about ensuring I'm spending time at the Lord's feet, ensuring I'm in my word, ensuring I'm not putting productivity before like stillness and the peace that he offers me. But in this new season of transitioning back to work, of, having all of the mommy duties, wanting to maintain my social life, wanting to be an active member of the church, wanting to be a good sister, wanting to be a great wife, like all of these things, I realized that I'm going back to Egypt, right? When we think of the story in Exodus of Moses and Pharaoh and how all Pharaoh wanted was productivity. All he wanted was more work. It didn't matter what it took as far as sacrifice. He cared not for the people. He only cared about the productivity. And I know that the Lord offers me freedom, right? Like I don't have to function in that space of constantly striving, constantly producing, and you don't either. And so I wanted to make sure I came up here to share this goodness with you, to remind you that, friend, we have been freed from the machine of productivity. Like we don't have to function in that space 100% of the time. Now, I'm not going to do Martha dirty and make it like she's just terrible, because there is a time for productivity. But on the seventh day, he rested, right? And so I don't want to get into the space where I refuse to rest again, because I know what that's like. And God has given me freedom from that version of myself. And I kind of saw me slipping back down that slippery slope of being like Martha 100% of the time, when I know I need to be both Mary and Martha. And I need to do that in season. Like it's a time and a place, right, for everything. And I have only been Marthering lately. I have not been marrying, okay? And so I just want us to remember Sabbath, to remember the gift of rest, to remember that even God himself rested. So who are we to refuse it? Our bodies need rest. That is our fuel. We cannot constantly go, go, go without there being some kind of consequence, right? If you're not resting, your body is not recharging. And so though we love, if you're like me, we love to do, we also have to balance that doing with being, right? And how can we do that? We plan for it, just like we plan for everything else. My goal has been, as I felt the conviction, to say, hey, I need to truly be intentional about observing Sabbath, planning for Sabbath, taking the time to truly rest from my work and worship in the presence of the Lord during that resting period. Because Sabbath and a day off is not the same thing. So if you aren't necessarily clear on the difference, it's really simple. When you think about your day off, you'll still do laundry, you'll catch up on the task around the house, you'll do the things you don't normally have time for, go to the market, go out to eat, catch up on that basket of clothes you didn't fold, like all of those things, right? But when you Sabbath, you simply enjoy. You enjoy the food that you prepared prior to Sabbath, because you prepare for Sabbath, right? You enjoy your family. You don't hire, your cleaning person. You don't go to the grocery store. You don't seek more things to buy, but yet you just focus on finding contentment in what you already have. You sing songs. You do activities that don't require, at least in my mind, you being online and engaging. Because to me, that's still a form of connection. Since I am a content creator, that's still a bit like work. And I want to completely learn to power down. Because when we think of like our electronics, right? you have to reboot them at some point, right? You have to close all the tabs at some point. And then when you start that system back up, it's refreshed, it's running quicker, it's more efficient, right? So that reboot, that power down, that's going to be important, especially in this season where the messaging is do more, be more, have more, right? Like, we don't need more. At least I don't. I need a little bit less. I need to do a little bit less. I'm already given a significant, and I mean a significant amount of my time to productivity. And I like to think of Sabbath as trust, right? Like a trust fall. Because when you Sabbath, you do nothing. You don't answer the emails. You know how you like to be like, oh, okay, well, I can just send this quick little email and I can do these things that I didn't get to do while I was working on the week. Like, you don't do any of that. And so it is literally a trust fall in which you say, Lord, I know even if I'm not producing, because you are God, because I give my burden over to you, I know everything will still be well. No matter what, I don't have to do it because I was never doing it anyway. It was Him who gave us strength and courage to go and do any of the things that we've done. So why not trust Him with that one day to say, Lord, I give it all over to you, even in my non-doing. Like, you never needed my hand anyway. Imagine how restorative that will feel. Right now, that's not what the man tells us to do. They don't want us to rest. They want us to work. Right? But the Lord said we can rest. He offers us the gift of rest. And I know some people may say, oh, well, we're not under the law of Sabbath. But it was never meant to be some restrictive law that kept us bound. It was meant to free us. And it was offered to us. And it's a gift. So I encourage you to take this gift as we enter into the month of May, right? This is Mother's Day month. And I encourage the moms out there to look at the calendar. Choose one Saturday that you want to try to Sabbath. And in the beginning, Sabbath is very hard. It's something you have to be very intentional about, because if you're not intentional about it, you're going to find something to do. You're going to vacuum the floor. You're going to dust the table. You're going to clean out the pantry. You're going to go to the grocery store. You're going to put air in the tires. Like, you're going to do all the things because that's how we're wired. But even if you can't Sabbath for a full day, I offer you the option to say, hey, I'm going to try Sabbath for 4 hours on Saturday. For this 4-hour period, I'm not looking at what's happening in the world. I'm not catching up on the news. I'm simply delighting in the Lord, listening to my worship music, right? Talking and connecting with my family about the wonders of the week. Only the good stuff, not the heavy stuff, the good stuff, right? If you like to walk or be out in nature, like if you like to just sit in your word, light your candles and not feel hurried. Like, those are the things we can do in Sabbath. Have a spread and feast on all of the foods you enjoy. And then give great thanks to the one who prepared and offered the enjoyment through His provision for you. So yeah, that's what we have for this week. I really want to do better at resting. I really want to be mindful of that dynamic of both women, right? Martha and Mary, and how I can and when I should apply both, right? Because we have this mindset of, we want to rest all the time, because some of us are on the other spectrum of that, where we just don't feel like we should have to work. We don't feel like we should have to do, because, as children of God, like, our Father is the King. And so he's going to provide all my needs. So I should just be able to be pampered, cared for, and collect a check. Well, no, that's not how this works. There is absolutely a time to be Martha, but there is also a time to be Mary. Okay? Anywho, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I'm so happy we got to hang out. I'm looking forward to next week's discussion. Let me know in the comments one thing you did in your stillness once you go into your Sabbath practice, okay? Because the goal is for us to create a rhythm of Sabbath, ancient self-care in our lives through practicing and practicing and practicing. Because the more we practice, the more we get better at stillness, right? So y'all know you can't leave here without a complimentary gift, because that is one of the Soul in Love house rules. This week, I finished this book, Garden City. It's by John Mark Comer, and I truly believe it will bless your life. The book is really perfect for this segment because he shares his viewpoint on the Sabbath and how it really is designed to refuel you. And just get the book. If I recommend the book, it's because it is worthy of your time, okay? You're going to get so many gems. John Mark Comer, Garden City. So good. All right. Well, again, if you're new, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you back here. I love you all. I'm so in love with you all. And I'll see you soon. Onward in holiness. Mwah.